Hello everyone. So this is the first book I'm reviewing in a while because I lost my glasses and I just got them back and finished reading it. But because I read it in a fragmented way, my recollection of it may not be great, but that means this will probably be a better review than usual because I have to think hard about what I'm saying and I won't ramble so much. So the book is called What's Your Dream? And it's by Simon Squibb. Underneath What's Your Dream, it says find your passion, love your work, build a richer life, which makes it sound quite generic. It's another one of those self-help books, and they all say the same thing, etc., etc. But then you see who's actually contributed to the cover. A must-read, Sir Richard Branson. He had a lot of businesses, whatever you think of him. This book is amazing. Chris Evans, masterclass. Simon doesn't just inspire you to dream; he gives you the practical roadmap to make it happen. Stephen Bartlett. I think that's the Diary of a CEO guy, isn't it? And then on the back, you've got more inspiring stuff. Simon empowers you to follow your dreams without fear. Jamie Oliver will stop you from giving up on your goals and start building the life you want. Jay Shetty, who I think has been exposed as a little bit of a fraud, but still very good. Very good reviews. For example, you've got John Caldwell, who's the guy who started Phones for You, I think. A must read for any would be entrepreneur keen to turn their business dreams into reality. That pretty much convinced me to read the book. So let me read you the blurb on the back as well. What's your dream? It's a simple question, but one we rarely think about. From early on, we are taught that there's only one path to getting ahead. Do well in school, get a certain kind of job, and avoid failure. We're so busy trying to follow these rules that we never stop and ask ourselves, what's my purpose? What do I really want? Can I make it happen? I completely agree with the idea that we're all taught there's one path to success. But even the success you might achieve, if all of that goes right, isn't really my idea of success. So that made me want to read the book more. Because essentially, if you do all that, you become a corporate slave. Maybe a very, very well paid one, but still a corporate slave. Simon Squibb is on a mission to transform lives. Here he shares lessons from his business career and personal experiences from homelessness. When he was 15, he was homeless, to selling a multi-million pound business, to now inspiring millions of budding entrepreneurs online through his viral street interviews. So this is the guy who goes around on YouTube asking people what their dream is. With this book, you too can remove barriers to success and kickstart your dream life once and for all. Very easy to read, well written, and the advice is practical without being boring. So there's plenty of inspiration on it. And in the first few chapters, what he was writing really resonated with me. You can have a job and you can be safe in it, but will it really ever give you the life that you want? What is the life that you want? Well, first you have to know your dream. Part of that is figuring out what is your pain. That's not easy to do. It's not one of these ones that says, go away and write this down now, then come back. Often an idea has to be in your head and you have to reflect on it for a long time, and it germinates into bigger things. And then you realize, oh my God, that's it. And when you finally arrived at your dream, because the thing you can't stop thinking about, it keeps you up. And you're always thinking, man, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. Something painful might happen. So for him, it was being homeless and desperately needing to make it. So he started a gardening business. And later he started a business called Fluid, which was a digital content creation business, and he ended up selling that for many millions to PwC. He started that with the lady who became his wife in Hong Kong. So he's got a lot of experience. He talks about a few qualities that you need in order to succeed. And the ones I really liked were the fact that you need to be able to take risks. You need to build a risk muscle. He debunks the idea that the harder you work, the luckier you get. What if the work you're doing is just making someone else rich? Because that's how everything's set up nowadays, isn't it? And you think the only way I can make more is to work longer, but then you're giving up your time for more money. My idea of success, and maybe this is somebody else's, I'm sure it's lots of other people's, is not just having lots of money, because all you ever do is work. You're miserable anyway. I know a lot of well-paid miserable people, I'm sure you do. But to have as much time and as much money as possible. So that then turns the problem of how can I make more money into how can I make more money and have more time for myself. And it's not just all about working harder or longer. How can I make more time and more money for myself without having to kill myself? Or kill myself, not literally, obviously. And so that really resonated with me. And then he talks about the things you need to succeed. The first thing being risk, of course, because the idea that the harder I work, the luckier I get is nonsense. Lucky people are the people who take risks, measured risks, and the way to do that is to consider what's the worst case scenario. If I take this risk, what have I got to lose? Am I willing to lose that much? And what's the potential upside? Is the payoff big enough to make it worthwhile? Simple as that. You can put it in mathematical numbers as well. Let's say if you've got a certain amount of money, and for each shot at making your dream come true, you risk 5% of it. If it's something repeatable, it's a really good book. The other thing he talks about is perseverance. A lot of people start off good, but they don't persevere, and when things look rough, they give up. And then they create a story to say, I gave up because this impossible competitor came along, I gave up because this happened, I gave up because things went wrong after Brexit, or things went wrong after COVID, or whatever, and they create a story to protect themselves, to protect their ego. But if they just keep going, but then at the same time, you also have to know how to quit. So a lot of this sounds contradictory, but it's different stages. At different stages, different things are important. When there are big changes, you need to know how to pivot, how to adapt to those changes, and they can actually be some of the best moves you make unexpectedly. And this isn't me talking, this is me talking, but just as a mouthpiece for everything that's in this book. It's a very good book. I really liked it. And forming relationships, because a lot of business people, they will create a business and then sell it. It's not the business, they're in business and they're making a lot of money, but then they sell it and they make many more multiples than they could have made by continuing to work there. So it talks about how to sell your business, which essentially don't put it up for sale, because as soon as there's a sale sign in the window, people know you're a motivated buyer and they'll offer you a crap price. Form partnerships. And then if your business is very good, somebody who you work with or somebody who knows about you're a competitor will try to buy you out, and that's when you get a really good price. That's all the information I can remember very clearly from this book. But it's a very nice read, it's a very interesting read, and I like the fact that this guy's heart seems to be in a good place. He's not somebody who got rich in the arms industry or the oil industry or something like that, right? His new business is Help Bank, which is all about helping other entrepreneurs to achieve their dreams, to set up their businesses for free, essentially. And the reason that he set that up is because as a teenager being homeless, he had nobody to help him, and that was his pain. He talks about the importance of knowing your pain. He also talks about the importance of facing hard times and other businesses that have faced hard times, and how they persevered through that and they used that pain. That's happened recently with Toyota, hasn't it? Toyota are releasing the GR-GT, which numbers-wise and Nürburgring lap-wise seems like it will be a big problem for the likes of Porsche and everybody else. And in, I think, the 60s, they had a car called the GT2000. Then they had Lexus LFA. But people were saying to him, you guys at Toyota could never build anything that good. And so the guy in charge used that humiliation to create these cars, which just seem like they're going to be ridiculous. And Toyota make the most reliable cars as well, which is an upside. But that's not from the book, that's just related. I really like the book. I'd give it, if you just like a good story, you might not like it as much as me. If you like life lessons, if you like practical advice, if you think you want to do something bigger than what you're doing now, something different, but you're scared to take the risk or scared to make a change anyway, you should read the book. It's really, really good. And it's an easy read. So from that perspective, any of those perspectives, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I don't know why I'm not saying 10 out of 10. Maybe I didn't get the same buzz from it as I usually get because I read it in fragments because I lost these things. But it's really good, and I'd recommend it. It's given me a few ideas, or it's made me focus more on a few ideas I've had for a long time and actually making them happen. What else is there in here to read to you? No, most of it I've covered. And to Aidan, who is Simon Squibb's son, my inspiration to make the world a better place. It's a very nice book. I'll probably read it again in the future, but because I didn't have my glasses for a long time, I've got about 8 books sitting there that I've received or purchased and not being able to read. So there you go. What's Your Dream by Simon Squibb. Find your passion, love your work, build a richer life. The other thing, what do you do after you've sold a business? Let's say if you run a successful business and you sell it, what do you do next? He addresses that question here as well. Obviously, it depends on your stage in life. If I I've got my family, I've got my kids, I've got a house and everything. So if I sold a business now, it'd be very different than if I was 20 and single and I sold a business, or if I was 60. I'm not 50 yet. So there you go. A book that made me think, and a book that actually gave me some good ideas, of which I've implemented a few of them already. For example, he says when you've got an idea and you're starting a business, write down everything that you need to get done, and then write down what you can do right now, and then write down the best way to do it. So he gives you a systematic way to solve problems as well, not just in business but in life. And I've tried that before. What's the problem? What do I need to do to fix it? What can I do right now? What's next? And if you follow those steps, it does work. So I'll stop now. I hope you enjoyed the review. There will be more coming soon.